In this video, I'm going to be providing an update to my business cycle risk score as at October 2019. As a preview, I have seen some improvement month over month, not much, but a little bit, which is, I guess, a move in the right direction. So I will be providing a lot more detail as to what I'm seeing and how I'm thinking about that score as we are here in October. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jared Ayers. I am a CFA charter holder and have created this channel to share with anyone who's interested the ideas, thought processes, and techniques I use to invest in the markets. This being one of the sort of foundational things I like to share. It's the first step in my own investing process, understanding that is where we are in the business cycle and therefore adjusting my portfolio and what I'm doing accordingly. So I hope you enjoy. So before we get into the details, as I mentioned previously, I have made a few videos laying out exactly the very intricate steps as to how I'm getting to all of my calculations and how I arrive at my risk score itself. So I will be linking to the videos that do explain all of that in the description at the bottom of this video. So if you're interested in finding out exactly how to do it, maybe you want to do it yourself, then feel free to look those up as well. So without further ado, let's get into the analysis. So as in previous videos, what you see before you is a capture of my screen, basically my summary table for the risk score calculation for October 2019 as mentioned. Like I said, I will be linking to all of the details on how I build this whole score up, but just to give a little bit of a brief background for those who are new, I track 13 economic indicators. I give them a predictive power name, I guess, lagging, whether they're leading or lagging. So whether a lagging indicator or a leading indicator, that then gives them a predictive power weight. Then there's also a time weight based on the date of the data, and that gives me then a total weight. So my assessment really is in these two columns. That is the direction of the indicator as well as the rate of change of the indicator. So not necessarily just looking at direction, but also whether it's getting better or getting worse in whatever direction it's going. So just at a high level, one of the things that you do look at, or that does catch my eye a lot of times, is if I scroll down here and I look at which ones are leading, which ones are lagging, you can certainly see that there aren't really any leading indicators except for one, and that's the consumer confidence, that are actually positive. The only positive indicators except for this one are lagging indicators. So that's always something you want to take, or at least I take note of, insofar as, okay, so if the leading indicators are actually signaling something may not be right in the larger business cycle, but the lagging indicators are still kind of telling me that everything's kind of just fine, that's obviously something I want to be paying attention to for sure. So like I said, there has been a change, an increase in the indicator. So it was 3.4 in September, 3.9 in October. The main indicators that have contributed to that differential really are the jobless claims and unemployment rate. So despite the fact that they look like they had flattened off in the month of October, and in terms of looking at the larger trend, they seem to get even more traction, going even lower. So that's obviously always a positive, even though those indicators are lagging. And then of course the consumer confidence indicator turning positive where it was negative in September. The one that was a little bit of an anomaly last month was the non-manufacturing PMI. That was actually showing a positive, whereas the manufacturing PMI, where the business confidence indicator, was actually negative. This month they're both negative, so it seems like the leading indicators on the business survey confidence side are also signaling that things may not be as rosy as we like to think they are going forward here. So just flipping back to September, you can see jobless claims and unemployment were flat, not positive. Consumer confidence was negative, where retail sales was positive. Now they're both positive. And like I said, non-manufacturing PMI was positive, where the manufacturing PMI was negative. Now they're both negative. So again, that was the score last month, 3.9 in October, so a bit of an improvement, which is good to see. But still, like I said, with all the leading indicators except one telling me that things may not be as good as I'd like to see them, still very cautious. And of course, on a scale of 1 to 10, 3.9 is not an excellent score, still less than 50%. So we'll look at what that translates to in terms of portfolio and asset allocations. So that then brings us to this table here. Shown this before in previous updates, but this is kind of my own creation. Basically, based on my score, I get ranges, and then that flushes out an asset class allocation that I use as a guide. I don't necessarily rush straight to adjusting my portfolio to the exact percentages here, but it does help translate those scores into real world allocations that I maybe want to be moving towards, especially if the indicators and the scores are kind of holding their own around a certain area, or maybe getting worse, or maybe getting better. So in this case, we are in this range here, 3.9. So not in the top half by any means, but inching our way a little bit more, a little bit higher than we have seen in the past, which is not a bad thing, but still very cautious in terms of portfolio allocations with sub 50% in equities, bonds and cash, still fairly strong holdings, and gold and managed futures in their allocations still in there. So in terms of the risk score itself compared to recent history, this kind of shows the history. So June was kind of a high of 4.92, then July down, August at a low of 1.72. Very pessimistic, the indicators were showing then. September kind of a turnaround, October a little bit better. So you can see how this risk score helps me understand kind of what those economic indicators might be suggesting in terms of what I might be doing. Again, not necessarily a good idea to run straight to whatever these indicators are saying, unless of course there's opportunities to make adjustments that make sense, and I've explained that in the past as well. But at least it gives you a guide. So for instance, September, October, July, with the exception of the August outlier, are kind of looking around the same, kind of that 35 to 45% equities. Probably a good place to hang out for a little while. Obviously, as we run up into Christmas, there may be some indicators on the retail side that consumer confidence, I'm sure those will probably stay strong as long as unemployment stays low. Those are all kind of tied in. As long as people are working, as long as they're earning money and able to spend, then that usually bodes well for the economy. It's just some of those other indicators, those leading indicators that may not be as rosy as those lagging indicators, like I mentioned previously. So that is what it's showing for me at this time. I mean, take it as you will. Like I said, for me, this kind of is the first port of call in terms of understanding what I need to be doing with my investments, my portfolio, and how I allocate my asset classes, and therefore help mitigate the risk in my own investments and portfolio. So hopefully that was helpful, and look forward to seeing you next month when I give another update. So, like I said, hopefully you got something out of that video. Again, this is where I start in my whole process, so if you have a different approach to how you look at the broader market, how you sort of formulate your own macro view, or any other technique you use to help mitigate risk in your portfolio, please by all means let me know. If you did like the video, do please give me a thumbs up. If you're not yet a subscriber but want to see similar content on this type of analysis, then by all means hit the subscribe button, and any other comments or questions you have, feel free to leave those in the comment section as well. Until next time, thank you very much for watching.